and has to go on the road wild card weekend.
Hey, it's Courtney Cronin. Coming up on Tuesday on Unsportsmanlike, the college football playoff quarterfinals are finally here. We'll tell you which teams we think have the best chance to advance. It's Unsportsmanlike, Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Off and running after further review here on a Monday, presented by Relief Windows, the final show of 2024. Musso in for Moscona. Scone is back on the 2nd. So we have the show today. We are off New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Back in the saddle on Thursday for January 2nd, and Scone will be here. Taylor Sharp, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride as well. Glad you are. We have a jam-packed show. We got a lot to get to. LSU plays a bowl game on Tuesday, 2:30. Give you a final pick, preview, and prediction of that. Brian Kelly met with the media today after a community service event. Talked a lot about the offensive line. Very interesting notes about the rotation they plan to use in the bowl game and transfer portal. We'll relay what BK had to say there. Darren Rizzi, of course, meets with the media to kick off Week 18 for the New Orleans Saints. Bill Bender is here to preview the college football playoff quarterfinals. There is a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get started as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right. A lot to get to, and the thing that I probably want to talk about least is the Saints losing 25-10 to the Raiders yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and start with that just to get it out of the way. And there's not really much I can say about the game. It's just kind of what was reaffirmed after the loss. If you want some thoughts on the game, I have a few here. It started kind of weird because we had talked about the Raiders not being able to finish drives on Friday when we gave the prediction. They didn't be able to finish drives. You could really see it in their point differential between them and their opponents. And the Raiders proceeded to just take the ball and march it right down the field on the opening drive of the ball game, dinking and dunking, converting every third down that they could. It was quite demoralizing if you were the New Orleans Saints. There's a touchdown that looks like it's a touchdown, but it's ultimately called back because the runner's knee was down, at the half-yard line or whatnot. And then the Saints get the goal line stand, and it was awesome. It was like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what you thought. And it's what you've seen from the Saints a little bit in general this season is yards, but they squeezed tightly in the red zone, and they did it at that moment. Cam Jordan had a tackle for a loss. He had a sack on that goal line stand. It was awesome. And they hold him to a field goal. They end up taking a 7-3 lead, hold him to another field goal at 7-6. But all the while, you could see little chinks in the armor on the Saints defense that ultimately just created a bigger problem. And it's not chinks in the armor or cracks in the armor, if you will, that we hadn't seen before with the New Orleans Saints this season. In fact, we've seen them a lot. This team is not good at tackling. They're actually quite bad at it. And you saw that plenty on Sunday. Missed tackle after missed tackle after missed tackle. That also helped extend the drives. The Raiders were 10 of 18 on third down. So while you got that goal line stand on the first drive, you saw the tone set by Las Vegas where you weren't going to be able to get them off the field on third down. So ultimately, that is your grand undoing defensively in this ball game, and it totals up to the Vegas Raiders with almost 38 minutes time of possession. They dominated this game. Like, make no mistake, Raiders dominated the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. They completely controlled the football game. Offensively, there were bright spots in the first half. You look at Spencer Rattler at halftime, he went out there and played one of the best halves you could have asked for. Easily the best half of football he's played in the NFL. 10 of 12, just over 130 yards, the touchdown, no interceptions. One of his incompletions was a throwaway when he was leading another great 2-minute drive that allowed the Saints to kick the field goal and cut the lead from 13-7 to 13-10 going in. And it was just like, okay, he's turning the corner. Made a lot of really impressive throws into tight windows. You saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire make his Saints debut, and that was awesome to see. And Clyde ended up with about, 30 yards from scrimmage. He ran the ball well at times, caught the ball in the backfield, everything you know Clyde can do, and it'd be interesting to see what that turns into for him. Hopefully you get to see him plenty more in Week 18 against the Bucs, so he can get tape out there. Maybe his next opportunity is with the Saints, potentially long-term. Maybe it's somewhere else. But it was great to see Clyde get back out there on the field after everything that he's been through with the mental health and injuries and all of that he's been so open about this year. I mean, that was the first NFL game he's played in all season long. So that was great to see. But in the second half, it kind of unraveled. And all the feel-goods on offense kind of were taken away. While Spencer Rattler was 10 of 12 in the first half, 83%, he was 10 out of 24 for 41% in the second half. He threw 2 interceptions. One of them was pretty meaningless, but the first one really changed the game. And what also played a part in that is he was back under pressure. In the first half, the Saints did a very nice job keeping him clean. In the second half, it looked more like the game against the Green Bay Packers. And he was just constantly under pressure, and it rattled him, and that's what we were worried about. The interior of that defensive front for Las Vegas, even sans Max Crosby on the edge, they done some really nice things in the pass rush. And the interior of the Saints offensive line was, you were missing your center and your left guard. You had Shane Lemieux and Oludu out there. And it just didn't go well. I thought Taliesin Fuanga had a really rough day out at left tackle. And you saw Rattler be put under pressure, and it unraveled. Every positive you had on offense unraveled in the second half. The other thing defensively that really got exacerbated in the second half was the running game. It was bad all game, but, y'all, we looked at that and said the Saints have been bad against the run all year. The Raiders were near the bottom. I think they were like 28th or 29th in the NFL in rush offense. Amir Abdullah went for 115 in the game. 115 in the game. That's his first 100-yard rushing game of his career. It was also the first 100-yard rushing game for a Raiders running back all season long. The Saints are abysmal at stopping the run and tackling. They actually did a pretty good job on Brock Bowers. They held him right in check with what every other tight end's done against him this year, about 70 yards or so. He broke a bunch of records, but he was going to break those records regardless of who he played. They did fine there. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't get off the field on third down. And then offensively, they could never establish a running game. And the pressure on the quarterback, your inability on the offensive line because of injuries throughout the season caught up to you there. And, oh, by the way, you couldn't convert a third down. 1 out of 10. All in all, you lost by 15 on your home field to a 3-win team. And what that tells you is, yeah, you knew there was going to be a new head coach in New Orleans in 2025, and now you know that that head coach is not going to be Darren Rizzi. I think Darren Rizzi did some really, really good things as the interim coach of the Saints here in 2024. He definitely provided a spark that is undeniable. Tyrann Mathieu, when he met with the media on Monday, said that spark is still there. There are still positives in the locker room, even not with the playoff. Guys are still happy to be there, and that's great. You had a nice win against the Falcons in Rizzi's first game where you just found a way to win. You had some fortune in there, too, with Younghoe Koo missing, 15 field goals or whatever. But you found a way to win, and that's great. Darren Rizzi pointed this out Monday when he met with the media. The soft tissue injuries, which have just been a pain in your ass for the better part of 2 years, have gone way down since he's taken over. That's great. But what you can't do, the back-to-back blowouts is tough. The back-to-back dominating losses is tough. I give you 34-0 on the road at Green Bay. You really should never lose 34-0 to anybody in the NFL. But on the road, Green Bay, all your situation, I'll allow it. Losing by 15 at home to a 3-win team, that ain't it. Just, that ain't it. And that's not going to get him this job. So we will move on from that, and we will have plenty to talk about here when it comes to Saints and the head coaching job, because Mickey Loomis, there's reports out there from NFL media, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, that Mickey's going to hire a guy that he knows, and we're going to talk about that at start the 4 o'clock hour. But the one thing is for sure, what you saw Sunday is going to lead to a lot of change in New Orleans on that staff. Darren Rizzi, I hope he gets the interview, and I'm sure he will get an interview with the Saints. I hope he gets interviews elsewhere. Maybe there's a head coaching job out there for him, but I do not believe it is with the Saints after the last 2 weeks, and specifically after Sunday. You can't lose by 15 on your home field to a 3-win team. That was one game that everybody thought, okay, you can win that one. Because you're not going to go win against the Bucs. And then what's going to happen is the Saints are going to finish 2024 with their worst record since 2005. And boy, didn't that season bring on a lot of change. And this one will too. The difference is Sean Payton isn't walking through that door. The quick turnaround isn't walking through that door. You're in such a dire situation with your cap, with your roster, with everything of that nature. This is going to be a long rebuild. And the sooner they realize that, the sooner you can get back to winning. But for a guy like Darren Rizzi, again, he did a lot of great things. I, for one, love Darren Rizzi. I think he was awesome. He's got great energy. He's the type of guy that anyone should want to play for. Run through a brick wall. But the 2 games going the way they went, the last 2 games going the way they went, that can't happen. And, man, your worst record since 2005 when you were 3-13. That's not all on Darren Rizzi. The majority of that's on Dennis Allen. We understand that. And actually the Saints front office. But it's part of his resume when he sits down for the interview. So we'll see. Saints lose to the Raiders. They got one more game left, but, man, it's all the same to you. I'm ready to turn the focus to the offseason and the coaching search and really find out what's next for this franchise. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. It's Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Switch over to LSU. Some bowl announcements. One more. Major Burns. He opted out. Have some thoughts. We'll get to that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Man, y'all go check out Duplessis Builders on Facebook or Instagram. Whenever they finish a project, they'll post pictures of their completed project, pictures and videos. Man, they just finished a gorgeous pool for one of their clients, and I could not recommend highly enough you go check it out because you'll see the amazing, gorgeous work that they do, the pristine craftsmanship over at Duplessis Builders. You know, yes, like we always say, you're going to have this beautiful pool, outdoor kitchen, which differentiates itself from most. But when it comes to Duplessis Builders, the thing that above all stands out is their workmanship. A 10-year workmanship guarantee when the industry standard is 1 year. It's because they don't cut corners. They build something beautiful that's meant to last. It's Duplessis Builders. Online, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
For the last 3.5 years, I've told you, do business with someone you know. And that's still the case. It's just we've got a new company. It's Parish Construction and Roofing. But it's all still the same people. It's me, it's Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales, all the way down to Christina in our office, who when you call, that's who you talk to, and the same friendly crews that come actually do the work at your home. It's our same team. We just started a new company, Parish Construction and Roofing. You can give us a shout. We even have the same number, 364-1007, 364-1007, or parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Roof repairs, roof replacements, from the smallest residential repair to the largest commercial roof replacement. We do it all, and we do it friendly with a smile, and we are here. We are local. We are Parish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com.
All right, back here after further review on a Monday. We're presented to you by Relief Windows. Musso in for Moscona. LSU, they face Baylor on Tuesday, New Year's Eve, 2:30 p.m. Central Time in the Texas Bowl, final game of the season in 2024 for the Tigers and for the Bears, for that matter. Of course, with bowl season these days, we all know what it is. You got to keep an eye on the roster, your depth chart. There's opt-outs. There's people declaring for the draft, all of those things. And for LSU, the decisions have been pretty spaced out, quite honestly, and just not some of them have been surprising, some of them haven't been. Let me just say, like Mason Taylor foregoing his senior and going pro, not playing the bowl games, not surprising. Will Campbell doing the same, not surprising. Braden Swinson playing in the game, rather surprising. Zy Alexander, kind of the same thing. Both those, great news for LSU, obviously, but maybe you didn't really expect to see those guys out there, especially after the seasons that they had. They're going to be there. One guy who won't is Major Burns, and I expect this as the last formal announcement that we'll get. This broke over the weekend, that Major Burns will not play in the bowl game with LSU. He's not with the team in Houston. So that puts a close on Major Burns' career at LSU. And before we get into what it means for the bowl game and going forward for the Tigers, just a thought on Major Burns' time in Baton Rouge, because for a lot of the 4 years, he was a punching bag. I mean, and look, it wasn't always the best out there, so some of it's understandable, but that's a guy who played in 39 games and started 33 of them, who moved positions when LSU needed him to move positions, who's a Louisiana guy and wore the jersey for 4 years. And as we all know, a stalwart like that matters. That does matter around here. Over 200 career tackles. You saw his most productive year be a season ago in 2023, where he was nearly a 100 tackle guy for you. But overall, that is a veteran presence that you're losing in this bowl game. And that's a guy that played a lot of football for LSU over 4 years. You obviously wish Major Burns the best going forward in the next level or whichever path he chooses to take in life. And now LSU turns their attention with the bowl game. Because I think what's important there is you are losing a veteran presence. And that's something that LSU has done really well to keep actually on defense in this game. Like Braden Swinson, like Savion Jones and Paris Shand, like Greg Penn in the middle, your number 18, like Zy Alexander. So I think you're still pretty good there, but who picks up those reps? That's going to be much more interesting. And what does the position look like going forward for LSU? First, the reps in the bowl game. I think the very obvious answer is Deshaun Spears and Javian Toviano. Toviano's been moved officially to safety from here on out permanently, as Brian Kelly put it. Toviano did rep star, both in camp and practice and even in some games. So that's the very, very obvious choice there. And I'd be fired up to see it. I'm excited to watch Javian Toviano in this game in general, regardless of where he plays. But I think now star makes the most sense with Major Burns opting out. That's going to be a spot where LSU is going to have to fill reps in 2025. You have a couple options there. Obviously, Harold Perkins returning is huge. But Javian Toviano is another guy. Deshaun Spears is also somebody you saw play star at points this season. You saw Deshaun Spears play every position that a safety could, quite honestly, throughout 2024. He's one of the players I'm most interested in watching in general in the bowl game. Whether it's at star, whether it's at field safety, I don't really care. Deshaun Spears feels like a guy that has to hit for LSU. I know that's a lot of expectation to put on the guy, and I mean, he's just finishing his first season of college football. But Deshaun Spears is a Louisiana guy from Denham Springs, I mean, right down the road. Was the number 3 safety in the country coming out of high school in the class of 2023. And played an awful lot early this year. When you look at LSU and the safety position going forward in the depth, and again, it can be at safety, it can be at star. I don't really care. He feels like a guy that has to hit. Because when you look at the depth, there's just not much there from an experience standpoint. That's why safety is such a huge position for them in the transfer portal right now. So Spears is the guy I'm most excited to watch, I think, really throughout the entirety of this bowl game. And I think you will see him get some run at star. Outside of that, when you look forward to the position, those two obviously factor in, and then there's Harold Perkins, which we talked about on Friday. And look, I was a fan of that move when they made it heading into the UCLA game. And we really just didn't get to see it. There's no sample size to it. But Harold Perkins is a guy who can run sideline to sideline. He's a guy that can cover. He's a guy that can come off the edge. He has a lot of different skills that Starr really seems to be able to maximize all of them. But on downs where maybe you move him. Maybe you do put him at the edge on a rush down. Who's going to go in there? Well, that's where you get back to a guy like Toviano or Spears. So this bowl game for Spears and Toviano, specifically at rush in, or excuse me, at star, that's going to be huge. That's going to be, and it could be going forward. We don't officially know their plan for Harold Perkins in 2025, right? That's just me hypothesizing because of where he played last, and I think it fits him pretty well. But one thing's for certain, that's going to be a big position to watch in the bowl game is star, and I think Toviano and Spears get the majority of reps there, and they have a chance to set the tone for them and kind of vault themselves forward into 2025 and hopefully go out there and grab some reps. So Major Burns, opts out of the bowl game officially, not with the team in Houston. You will have new guys at star, and it will be definitely something to watch on the LSU defense. Speaking of the bowl game, quick programming note here before we hit the break. Obviously, we had our full lineup of shows today. Tomorrow that changes. So tomorrow we will not have the full lineup of shows. This is how it will go. Eagle 98.1 game day. We took an hour and put it on the front end. So we have a 4-hour pregame show. Hanny and I will be at Rouse's 8:30 to 12:30. That'll be on Eagle 98.1 here in Baton Rouge, as well as simulcast on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're listening here, of course, you can catch it on either of the apps as well if you're not in Baton Rouge, whether it be the Eagle 98.1 app or our app, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. So 4-hour pregame show, no postgame. No postgame, Eagle 98.1. There will still be LSU Sports Radio Network postgame. There will still be Whiskey and Wine, but there will be no Eagle Game Day postgame with Hanny and Richard Dixon. So 4-hour pregame, no postgame. And then the one other note is Jimmy is going to do a show, kind of like a bowl special show from 12:30 to 2:30, leading you right up to kickoff. So once Hanny and I hand the baton over to the network at Rouse's, we will also be handing the baton technically over to Jimmy here on 104.5 ESPN, and he'll kind of do a bowl season show and lead you right up until kind of a special edition of Live at Lunch, lead you right up until the kickoff between LSU and Baylor, which of course you can hear on the flagship of LSU Sports is Eagle 98.1 here in Baton Rouge. So that's kind of how the day will go. We will be off New Year's Eve. We will be off, kind of. The show lineup will be off. And then off New Year's Day as well. Back to regular programming on the 2nd. And Matt will be back in the host chair for that. We'll grab a break here. Come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC. And James Franklin is calling for change in college football. And he's calling on the GOAT to make it happen. We'll talk about that next here on AFR.
Speaking of Christmas stuff, if you do still need a Christmas gift for someone on your list who maybe it's hard to shop for, or maybe
nothing says Christmas like a real Christmas tree. Delightfully fresh, Clegg's Christmas Tree Forest. Enchanting decorations as seen through the eyes of a child. Clegg's is a must-do Christmas family tradition. Nothing says Christmas like a real Christmas tree. Delightfully fresh, Clegg's Christmas Tree Forest. Enchanting decorations as seen through the eyes of a child. Clegg's is a must-do Christmas family tradition. Nothing says Christmas like a real Christmas tree. Delightfully fresh, Clegg's Christmas Tree Forest.
You've got bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, or you could always just snag a Clegg's gift card. Easy, stocking stuffer, maybe something for a company Christmas party, something like that. It's Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in. Friends at Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, back here after further review. Monday show presented by Relief Windows. Last show of the year, man. It goes by really, really, really fast, especially when you get into the fall and football season. There's so much going on. I mean, you blink your eyes and it's over. So, last show of the year here today. Happy to be with y'all. Happy to have all of y'all with us as well. Okay, we're gonna go to the SEC here in a moment. James Franklin is calling for a commissioner in college football, and he's calling for it to be Nick Saban. That's not overly surprising. I feel like every time a commissioner conversation in college football gets brought up, Nick Saban is the guy who everybody points to and goes, hey, let's make Nick Saban the commissioner of college football. He's got great ideas. When he speaks about the game, people listen. The problem with that, I mean, first of all, there's a lot of things that could be wrong with that. One of them is you can't have a commissioner over 130 some odd teams in college football, whatever it is, 134, I think it is now. It's just too many. There's the haves and the have-nots. You'd have to pare down college football in order to do that. And with each story that comes with this, we always say, we're inching closer and closer to that. The other thing is Nick Saban has to want to do it. And look, I don't know Nick Saban, so I probably shouldn't speak for him. But all I'll say is this. Nick Saban looks like he's enjoying himself in his current life right now. He really does. Nick Saban can say why he retired and all that. He can say NIL and the changing landscape had nothing to do with it. It did. It had a little part to do with that. Too many guys are leaving college football right now because of that. It had something to do. So why would a guy who is able to spend time with Miss Terry now, golf, go to the lake, which he's always loved to do, work on game day and pal around with McAfee and Herb Street and those guys all the time, why would he want to take on something that is as demanding and as chaotic as college football commissioner? I can't see that happening. I don't know what the answer would be inevitably when you get to that point where there's, the quote unquote one college football and you have the commissioner and all of those things. I mean, my thought would be it's either going to be the commissioner of the SEC at the time, whether that be Greg Sankey or not, because we don't know when we're going to get to that point. Greg Sankey might be retired by the time we actually get to that point. But the SEC, their power, their standing, their status in college sports isn't going anywhere, definitely not in college football. So my thought would be it'd be the commissioner of that league or the Big Ten, because same thing. Like, you could have a new Big Ten commissioner by the time you get there. But their standing, their status, it's not going anywhere. In fact, it's only getting stronger between the SEC and the Big Ten. So I would think it'd be one of those guys, somebody in administration who could just step into that role. I get why everybody wants it to be Nick Saban. When he speaks, you listen. That's kind of how it's always been, and especially now. And everything the man's accomplished, he's got a great pulse on the game and all of that stuff. But why in the hell would Nick Saban want to do that? Why would you leave the life you have now to take on a headache? That doesn't make any sense to me. So, do I think one day there'll be a commissioner of college football, that there'll be one college football and there'll be a commissioner? Yeah, I do. I think that there will be. Do I think we're 10 years away from that? No, I think it's actually probably maybe a little longer. But I do think it'll happen in my lifetime. So we'll wait and see. There's just, every time it looks like they can get to that point, something else crops up and it gets put on the back burner and they have to handle this and handle that. So, look, we'll see. But yeah, while Nick Saban, college football commissioner, has a great ring to it, why? And why would you ever do that? Me, I'd rather hang out on game day and hang out with my wife and go to the lake and play golf and do all that stuff, where you don't really have to cater to the whims of administrators and coaches and subsequently players. Nick's done that a lot. He did it really well. So much, he did it better than anybody ever has. Let the man enjoy retirement. I think he's earned it. Really, quite frankly, Nick Saban can do whatever the hell he wants as long as he doesn't step back foot on a sideline and coach against the rest of college football ever again. But let the man do what he wants. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Texas Longhorns.
Good news for Sark and the Horns. Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond will play against Arizona State in the college football playoff quarterfinals. That according to a report from Pete Thamel on Sunday. However, right tackle Cameron Williams is trending toward being a game-time decision. Let's start with Bond. Aggravated the ankle injury prior to the SEC title game. Missed the first-round game against Clemson, but has been practicing and is set to go against the Sun Devils' third leading receiver for Texas. 33 catches, 532 yards. As for Williams, he's been limited in practice with a right knee sprain. Hopes to play through the pain. If he can't go, reserve tackle Trevor Gooseby will start in his place.
Texas A&M!
The Aggies land a big one in the transfer portal. Former NC State wide receiver Casey Concepcion has announced he will head to Aggieland. 5'11", 189 pounds, number 6 wide receiver, number 15 overall player in the transfer portal, according to ESPN. Will have 2 seasons of eligibility left. Burst onto the scene as a freshman up in Raleigh. All-American in 2023, Rookie of the Year in ACC as that season as well. I mean, you're looking at 839 yards, over 71 catches. That was a program record for a freshman. Former 3-star recruit. Did see his numbers dip this year. And that, of course, led him to enter the portal.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Head coach Kalen DeBoer provided the latest update on offensive tackle Caden Proctor. It's a good one. He's expected to play in the ReliaQuest Bowl against the Michigan Wolverines. Proctor missed the first 2 games of Alabama's season here in 2024 because of a shoulder injury. He returned week 3 and started the remaining 10 games. Second team All-SEC honoree this season, will play against Michigan in the bowl game.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
How about this story? Kentucky quarterback Brock Vandagriff has formally retired from football. That's according to John Hale. He's been on this show before, from the Lexington Herald Leader. Hale did confirm the news through a Kentucky spokeswoman. Vandagriff, of course, a junior transfer from Georgia, started the first 11 games this season for Kentucky. Not the best results, was benched ahead of the regular season finale in favor of freshman Cutter Boley. All in all, in 2024, just over 1,500 yards on 57% completion, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Brock Vandagriff hanging up the cleats, retiring from football.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And Tennessee linebacker Khalib Perry plans to enter the transfer portal. He tells On3, a junior, he'll have 1 year of eligibility remaining. A former 3-star recruit missed the season opener against NC State this year for Tennessee. Did play a larger role as the 24 season progressed. Will conclude his time in Knoxville with 61 career tackles and a forced fumble. We'll let you know where he lands when the decision is made. There you have it. That is around the SEC. This is a Monday edition of AFR. We are presented to you by Relief Windows. Getting set to hit our final break and put a button on hour number 1. Before we do that, I want to remind you, after further review on demand, it's where you can get anything that you missed on the show, both YouTube and podcast. AFR on demand. YouTube, search AFR Saints, it's AFR LSU. You can find the specialty videos just for that. The ones isolated out. The full show, of course, at 104.5 ESPN on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, I should say. All of it presented by Brett Goff. Podcast forum, same thing. Search AFR LSU, AFR Saints on your favorite podcast app, or just after further review if you're looking for the full show. AFR on demand, presented by Brett Goff. All right, let's grab a break. Come back on the other side. The Jets, they're starting to interview people. A couple very interesting names, including a former coach. Does it make sense? We'll kick that around a little bit next to close out hour 1 here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, Action, INC.com for Action Industries Incorporated. Had a great lunch a few weeks back with my buddies over at Action Industries. It was Chuck, Chad, Jordan, Erica. We had a great lunch, actually over at Curbside right there on Government Street. And we talked a ton about turnarounds. The turnaround season is March through October. You know that. But it's so important now that if you know you'll have turnarounds coming, I mean, it's inevitable when you have turnarounds coming around the springtime, that you keep the advanced turnaround group front and center. At Action Industries, the Advanced Turnaround Group, still the same great company that's been around for 42 years at Action Industries. But the Advanced Turnaround Group is a division of Action Industries where they have assembled a core group that has built their career around turnaround execution. It's over at Action Industries.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild? You can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac? You can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
I want to kick around something that the Jets are doing here momentarily. But as we were coming back from break, I opened Twitter and I saw this, and it's not surprising because we all know the talent level in Louisiana, especially at skill positions. But it does make you stop and think. Dov Kleeman, of course, we're all familiar with Dov up there on Twitter. We don't think he's a real person. He just kind of, passes along news secondhand and sources all of it. But this is his. And I trust that it's right because, well, we're familiar with all these players and we know that it's right. The 4 leading receivers in the NFL, all of them were born in Louisiana within 120 miles of each other. Jamar Chase from Harvey, Justin Jefferson from St. Rose, CeeDee Lamb is 3rd. Of course, he was born in Opelousas. Brian Thomas, Walker. By the way, Malik Neighbors, number 6, Lafayette. It's absurd. That is the wealth of talent in this state when it comes to wide receiver is so ridiculous. I mean, everyone jokes about, you could just, throw a rock and hit an NFL wide receiver, but you literally can. I mean, that's the top 4 receivers in the NFL. The 4 leading receivers. All born in the state of Louisiana. LSU's always going to have receivers, y'all. Always. Always, always, always going to have receivers. Oh, man. Derek Meadows didn't sign with LSU. He went to Alabama. Darn. Gee, I wonder if Phillip Wright from Destrehan's going to be any good. Maybe he'll just be one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL in 3 years. Absurd wealth of talent at the wide receiver position in Louisiana. You want to know why LSU's wide receiver U? That's why. Right there. Because Jamar Chase is in your backyard. Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thompson. Y'all know. I don't need to tell you all this. It's just when you see it in front of you like that, absurd. All right. Now to what we're really going to talk about in this segment. You're nearing the end of the NFL regular season. You got 3 head coach openings. They're going to start lining up interviews, things of that nature. The Jets are doing so. They're set to interview 2 candidates, both very familiar. One is Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron. A source confirmed that to ESPN. look, Ron Rivera's had a nice career. He's been very successful. Took the Panthers to a Super Bowl, obviously. In 2015, it didn't go well, but he was 76-63. Overall, I mean, he's won over 100 games in the NFL. That's great. He's not really the interesting one. The interesting one is Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan is set to interview for the New York Jets job, according to who? According to Rex Ryan. He was asked Monday about this, and if he was expected to interview for the team's coaching vacancy. His quote was, "I believe I will," end quote. It's interesting for a couple of reasons. Obviously, Rex Ryan led the Jets to their most success in the modern era here. Back-to-back AFC championship games. I didn't end great, but back-to-back AFC championship games. The Jets haven't made the playoffs since then, in 2010. He did that with Mark Sanchez at quarterback. The defense was phenomenal, as you would expect under Rex Ryan. After he was fired by the Jets, after the 2014 season, he was hired by the Bills. It didn't go well. He only lasted 2 seasons, and since then he's been working for ESPN. What is I don't want to say astonishing. What is intriguing to me about this is the coach returning back to the job. The most recent example of this is John Gruden with the Raiders. That obviously didn't go great. But I'm intrigued here just because, and it's kind of the same thing. It is kind of the same thing with Gruden. He had brought the Raiders to the playoffs plenty. He had went off and won a Super Bowl in Tampa. And you bring him back, see if he can rekindle it. Ultimately, the fallout happened the way it did, and we know we don't need to rehash all of that. But when it comes down to big name guys doing this in the NFL, the list isn't that long. I don't know, Taylor. You got a thought on Rex Ryan potentially returning to the New York Jets here and being the next coach?
I love it. Rex Ryan just is the New York Jets, Moose. I mean, you talked about it. I mean, the New York Jets have not made the playoffs, well, since Rex Ryan has been let go there. I mean, and it was his first 2 years in New York, right? 9-7, but they make the playoffs as a wild card. They go on a run. Then 11-5, and that was with Mark Sanchez. And then, I mean, you mentioned it, not great with the Buffalo Bills, but still in the state of New York. He went 8-8 and 7-8. So, I mean, he wasn't awful there either. Rex Ryan just is the New York Jets. This makes total sense to me.
I mean, I'm really intrigued by it. I kind of want to see it happen. I think it's also that thing of where, you're trying to rekindle what you had, and there's just no guarantee for success. But the Jets have a lot of problems. They're going to have to get a new quarterback, obviously. So, I mean, whoever takes this job, Rex Ryan or not, you're replacing quarterback. You're not going to be able to sign all 4 of your big ticket, young core guys. Like, you're not going to be able to sign Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, and I'm blanking.
Braylon Allen?
Yes. Thank you, Taylor. You're not going to be able to sign all 4 of those guys. You're going to exhaust the cap space that you have right now if you do that. But that's still a pretty good young core if you get 3 out of the 4 back. The Jets have nice pieces defensively. There's a path there for Rex Ryan to have success. It'll just be very interesting. The other thing to throw out, this did not end well. From everything that I remember, it didn't really end well between Rexy and Woody Johnson the first time. But look, man, adults can be adults in the room, and we'll see. That would certainly be one of the more intriguing offseason storylines if Rex Ryan does end up interviewing for this job and getting it. Watching him throughout the offseason and then going into this. I mean, are the Jets eligible to be on Hard Knocks? Because that would be must-see television if Rex Ryan gets the job again in returns.
They might be. I think the only stipulation is you hadn't had it in the past 5 years.
Yeah, and I think
you hadn't made the playoffs in 3 years.
I think they have had it in the last 5 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they haven't made the playoff. They've been terrible for a long time. But I don't know. Maybe Rex Ryan's heading back up to the Jets, and maybe he's the key to turning it around. Maybe he gets them back to the playoffs. We'll see. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Speaking of coaching searches, the Saints have one. Mickey Loomis, there's a report out there. He's going to hire somebody he knows. Is that a good thing? Who is it? We'll kick that off. Start hour 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. When we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at reliefwindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bowl season rolls along with the Music City Bowl on ESPN. Thanks to Joshua Manning's 8-yard touchdown run, Missouri's now gotten within 3, down 24-21 to Iowa in the third quarter. The Jets expected to interview former Jets and Bills coach Rex Ryan and former Panthers and Commanders coach Ron Rivera for their head coaching job. They've also got a GM vacancy to fill, and there's the matter of whether quarterback Aaron Rodgers returns in 2025. ESPN NFL analyst Herm
I
Edwards.
think Aaron Rodgers has shown in certain instances that he is still talented. He can still go football. They have a team that has some talent, especially on offense and defense. So this team has been in a lot of games. Big teams don't fit. They don't know what it means to win anymore. They've lost so many games.
ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting Mike Vrabel's work as a consultant with the Browns ended today, so he's eligible to interview for NFL head coaching jobs immediately. Bears, Saints, and Jets currently with openings. NFL Week 17 finishes off tonight with the Lions at the 49ers on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ABC, ESPN, and ESPN+.
Hey, it's Courtney Cronin. Coming up on Tuesday on Unsportsmanlike, the college football playoff quarterfinals are finally here. We'll tell you which teams we think have the best chance to advance. It's Unsportsmanlike, Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
All right, a little technical difficulty there. Off and running, hour number 2 after further review. Musso in for Moscona. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Taylor Sharp, Cassie Spazzali here along for the ride as well. I'm glad to have you with us. 1 hour in the books, 2 more to go. Last show in 2024 here today on AFR. When we're back on the second mat, we'll be back as well. Plenty still to get to. College football playoff quarterfinals kickoff Tuesday, New Year's Eve with Penn State, Boise State continuing to New Year's Day. Bill Bender of the Sporting News, he's going to be with us here in the next segment, preview those 4 games. Brian Kelly met with the media for the final time before the Texas Bowl, talked about the offensive line. We'll pass that along as well. And we got to give you a final pick and preview on that game too. So there's going to be plenty of LSU coming up here throughout the rest of the show as we get in auto locks. And we got to get Jimmy's take on the Monday Night Football tonight, maybe some hoop. As well as maybe an early thought on some of the playoff games. So, and again, Jimmy will be doing a bowl special from 12:30 to 2:30 on ESPN Baton Rouge Tuesday, leading you right up to kickoff for LSU and Baylor. With all that LSU coming, I did want to take this moment to dip the toe back into the water of the New Orleans Saints. The coaching search. That's what we're all interested in now with the New Orleans Saints, is the coaching search. Told you in the open of the show, when we recapped the Raiders game, the one thing that showed you is it's not going to be Darren Rizzi at this point. You can't lose 34-0 on the road at Green Bay and then follow that up losing by 15 on your home field to a 3-win team. That can't happen in order for you to get the full-time head coaching job. So it won't be Darren Rizzi. Who will it be? Well, over the weekend, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, over there at NFL Media, they had a report that Saints GM Mickey Loomis will hire a coach that, quote, he knows, end quote. Mickey Loomis knows a lot of people, but there are 3 candidates that should jump off the page to you immediately, and we'll get into those momentarily. I think where this should start is the discussion of is this a good idea? It doesn't matter if it's a good idea. It doesn't matter what I say right here. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what anybody else covering the team thinks. It doesn't matter what national. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what Mickey Loomis thinks, and Mickey Loomis is going to hire a coach that he knows. So really, while I want to start here, it just doesn't matter. I, for one, am in the camp that want the Saints to continue to cut ties with the past era as much as they can and start anew. I understand this isn't a flip of the light switch, pull a rabbit out of a hat magic that's going to happen immediately and they're going to be contenders in 2025. They're not. The Saints are not going to be contenders in 2025. I don't care who they hire. They're not going to be contenders in 2025, neither 2026. They got a lot of work to undo to rebuild. So I get it. It's going to be a slow process. But what I would hope in doing that is you continue to distance yourself from what put you in this process. And when I hear Mickey Loomis say that when I hear the report from sources close to Mickey Loomis that he's going to hire a coach that, one, he knows, that tells me they're not going to distance themselves from the past. Except for maybe one guy that we'll get into. But chances are it's going to be somebody from the Sean Payton tree, from the era of most success with the New Orleans Saints. And look, I'm not sitting here and saying that just because you're part of the past era, you can't come in and have success. Of course you can. There's two in particular we're going to talk about, Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady, who would be first-time head coaches. Maybe they are the next great one. And you go that route and it hits. Maybe. And all this conversation is for naught. And you know what? You went back to the the golden era of the franchise, and it worked. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe you continue to toil away in this mediocrity that you're in right now. There's risk in every hire. That's going to happen. But when there's proven candidates out there that aren't part of the past, like a Mike Vrabel, for instance, I'd love to see you make a serious run at him. You don't have any connection to him. That's fine. You don't have to. Interview him. If you don't like him, don't hire him. When you have such a hot commodity like a Ben Johnson, and you know what? You probably won't get him because your job isn't that desirable. But man, that guy's got a, connection to the Saints by proxy, working with Dan Campbell all these years. That's the part I just struggle with. So, when I saw the report, the first thing, actually, I posted this on my Instagram story. I posted the report on there, and the caption was, Aaron Glenn, come on down, with 2 laughing emojis, because it makes the most sense. Aaron Glenn, of course, on Sean Payton's staff, 2016 to 2020, he was the defensive backs coach. They enjoyed incredible success. Look at the guys he had a hand in developing. Further development of Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, Von Bell, all those guys that went on to get second contracts and do very good things in the NFL. The Saints' secondary in those years was shut down. It was locked down. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Like, it was a no-fly zone. What he's done in Detroit from a defensive standpoint, they've been great, especially pass rush. He's familiar with what the Saints want to do defensively. Obviously working under Dennis Allen, a model that had so much success for so long in that second wave of the Saints being arguably the best franchise in the NFL. They just couldn't get over the hump and win the Super Bowl. I mean, the skins on the wall speak for themselves. When you look at the fit, I mean, it doesn't get any better. The guy's been here. He played in New Orleans in 2008. What's been your biggest issue this year besides injury? Your defense is stunk. You got to fix that. That guy can do it. Like, all of that makes a lot of sense. The issue is first-time head coach, and even though it's not a retread hire because he's a first-time head coach, it kind of feels like it, though, doesn't it? For everything else that we just laid out. Look, if the Saints want to hire Aaron Glenn, I would endorse that hire. I would. It's not my first choice, but I would endorse the hire. I think that would be a good pickup for New Orleans. They're going to be patient with whoever they get. And I think Aaron Glenn has now seen it done a couple different ways. And I like that aspect. Not my first choice, but I would be in favor of the hire. Maybe endorse isn't the right word. No one's asking for my endorsement. I would be in favor of it. The other is Joe Brady. And with Joe Brady, I mean, the Bills are arguably the best offense in the NFL this season. Maybe outside of the Lions, they are. They're top 10 in every category you could want to be. They're number 2 in scoring. And it's, yes, you have a great quarterback in Josh Allen, something you would not have in New Orleans. I understand that. There is familiarity there with Brady, although it's not nearly as deep as it would be with a guy like Aaron Glenn. And there's a lot more risk, I believe, in that hire. Learning under Sean McDermott is admirable. The job he's done calling plays. When, yes, you have Josh Allen, but Josh Allen has really, quite honestly, his worst complement of weapons so far that he's had since he's been in Buffalo. Joe Brady's done an incredible job. I just find more risk in that one than I would. It's first-time head coach, just like Aaron Glenn, but I find more risk in that one. But that's the other name to really kind of watch that stands out, that's going to get interviews. Like, Joe Brady's getting calls this offseason, y'all, from a lot of people because of the job he's done in Buffalo. One more wild card. He's got a job right now. But he does have ties to the Saints. He was the offensive coordinator from 2000 to 2005. Mickey Loomis got to New Orleans in 2000, took over GM in 2002. That's Mike McCarthy. Taylor, do you think the Cowboys are going to fire Mike McCarthy this season?
I do not. Not now. No.
Okay. So that's the caveat, right? Mike McCarthy has to come available. I would actually really be in favor of a Mike McCarthy hire, provided you could put the right pieces around him. Jerry Jones has not done that in Dallas. They did that in Green Bay, and it resulted in a Super Bowl. That's a coach with a Super Bowl pedigree who has ties to the Saints, but not the golden era. He's familiar with New Orleans, Super Bowl. Love that. Great offensive mind still. The problem is putting the right pieces around him, and I don't know if I have faith in the New Orleans front office to do that because the way they've handled this roster has been irresponsible, quite honestly, as of late. Trying to hang on to something that just isn't there. Sensing a theme in this whole conversation. But if Dallas parts ways with Mike McCarthy and you can get him, I'm fully in favor of that. Because he also brings a knowledge to the draft room, right? Where he knows what he's looking for his system. First and foremost, you're going to have to get a quarterback. You're going to have to get in cap compliance more than just kicking the can down the road for one season. It's a long rebuild. The Saints are a patient organization, and that serves them very well. So whoever they hire is going to have a long leash, is going to have time. Hell, they gave Dennis Allen 2.5 years. 2.5 years more than they should have. But when I hear a coach he knows, forgive me, I'm a little bit more cautious there, considering we just got done with that. And when you hired Sean Payton, there wasn't any ties. Look how that turned out. I'd be in favor of going after the next Sean Payton and not the comfortable hire, the soft search, the coach that you know. We'll see what they do. Well, he already told you what he's going to do. Hire somebody he knows. All right. Got to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Bill Bender, the Sporting News. College football playoff quarterfinals start Tuesday. We're previewing them next here on AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
All right, back here on After Further Review. Apologies, we're having a little issue with our imaging, but as far as I know, we're on air when we're on the mic and things of that nature. So apologies for that. We'll continue the show going. It's a Monday show presented by Relief Windows. Musso in for Moscona. The college football playoff quarterfinals get underway New Year's Eve. Penn State, Boise State, they continue on New Year's Day with the other 3 games. Bill Bender, the Sporting News, good enough to join us, preview the 4 games this week. Bill, we appreciate the time as always, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Your time, very much appreciated. Let's just kind of dive right in, and we'll take them kind of chronologically. Bill, the first matchup, Penn State, Boise State, it's a big spread. But, man, when you look at it, it seems like a battle of which team's going to want to be able to run the football. Obviously, what Boise State wants to do with Ashton Jeanty. Penn State with their 2-headed monster of Singleton and Allen. I mean, neutral site, obviously no Happy Valley factor in here like SMU had to deal with. How do you kind of break down, how do you handicap this matchup between the Nittany Lions and the Broncos?
What you said, who runs the football? Does Penn State slow down Ashton Jeanty in that running game? They're really good, obviously, on the front. Do they get Maddox Madsen in some 3rd and longs? And then the other side, does Penn State just churn 6 yards at a time? Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, both fantastic in the first-round game and keep Drew Aller out of trouble. One of the interesting things about this game, Penn State 7-0 all-time in the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State 3-0 all-time. We all remember the magical Statue of Liberty play.
Oh, yeah.
I think that makes for out of the 4, I'm glad they put this one on New Year's Eve, not just because I think Boise State will compete. I don't know if they can win, but I think that adds to the allure of it being on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. Sorry.
Bill, you're right, man. Anytime you see Boise in the Fiesta Bowl, it always just gives you that feeling in the pit of your stomach type thing. Of course, with the upset over Oklahoma, is Penn State the best defense Boise's seen all year?
Yeah, but I mean, Oregon's front's good too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're going to see a team that they should be super scared of. They ran with Oregon. They had a great game there. Ashton Jeanty obviously was way back in September, but he had a huge game. So I think when you consider that, they won't be afraid. And like I said, the key will be not turning the football over not seeing how they stay out of 3rd and long against that Penn State pass rush. Abdul Carter's really good, but he's not the only one Penn State has up front.
Bill, switching gears to New Year's Day, we'll kind of just take those chronologically as well. It gets started, Texas and Arizona State. Arizona State's interesting, man. Everybody wants to look at Cam Scadaboo, but that's just been a really, really scrappy, kind of complete team, it feels like, all season long. I mean, Texas's front is incredible. And tell me if you agree with this. This game kind of feels like it's similar to Penn State, Boise State, where both teams are going to want to run the football and control the line of scrimmage.
Oh, yeah. And Arizona State, I mean, if they can't get that running game going, they're going to face issues. Sam Leavitt's been one of the hottest quarterbacks in the country. I think he has 3 touchdowns or more in 6 of his last 7 games. They were one of the hottest teams in the country. So how do you counteract that with a Texas team that when they're running the football like they have, with the exception of the Georgia game, 200 or more rushing yards in 3 of the last 4 games, that's going to be the issue. Can they keep up if Texas gets out ahead? I think Quinn Ewers has played okay, but I'm more interested to see this Arizona State offense without Jordan Tyson if he doesn't play, and it doesn't look like he will, against this Texas defense that is very active on every level.
You mentioned Quinn Ewers there. I was going to ask you kind of what you've made of the season that he's had, because it feels like you can't bring up Texas with somebody asking about Arch Manning, but I mean, Arch Manning, they stuck with Ewers the whole time last week. Arch came in and run the ball 3 times. But what have you kind of made about that whole situation and Arch and Ewers?
I think they'll move on from it next year. We'll have clarity. But, I mean, as far as this year, and I've been pretty consistent saying this is Quinn Ewers' team. They've demonstrated that pretty consistently. And Arch, they work him in. I would be interested to see if they worked him in on some red zone packages and those kind of things. But they're going to go with Quinn Ewers. That's no doubt. And I think Quinn Ewers has handled this well. I mean, I can't imagine playing in front of a Manning all season. And because of the appetite for Arch Manning and everything that comes with that. But I think Quinn Ewers, I watched him at Michigan earlier this season. He played fantastic. And this Texas team is really good. That's why they're the betting favorite to win it all, even though this path isn't particularly easy for them.
Texas and Arizona State kick off the day on New Year's Day at noon over there in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Let's jump to the night game. We'll save Ohio State, Oregon for last. Let's jump to the night game, Bill. Notre Dame and Georgia. And, I mean, look, no Carson Beck. That's huge. Let's start there. Gunnar Stockton getting the start against Notre Dame. What challenges might he present to the Irish and vice versa, them towards him?
Mobility. And, their running game got going a little bit against Texas. And that's what interests me is, can they get it going in the interior where Riley Mills won't be there? And then for Notre Dame, does Riley Leonard offer enough in the passing game to keep them from being predictable against a pretty active Georgia front led by Jalen Walker? This has the feel, their head-to-head matchup a couple years ago were really close to the defensive games, and I think we get another one here. I can't see the winner of this game getting more than, I'd say 27 would be pushing it.
Man. The total's 45.5, so that does speak to a lower scoring game. Without Riley Mills for Notre Dame, how much does that hamper their pass rush, do you think?
A little bit, but the good news is they got Howard Cross back.
Yeah.
So Howard Cross being on the interior, and he was working back in against Indiana, their defense is really connected. I've said all season, their defense reminds me of Michigan last year, where they're good on the interior, they're good on the back end. Xavier Watts is really, you got to know where he is at all times. You can't make that mistake against him. They've overcome some injuries, and Al Golden's done a nice job with them, and that's why Notre Dame is a popular upset pick here. I went with Georgia.
Okay.
The knowing Georgia, and you know that, right? Like Georgia's pedigree over the years. Kirby's going to have them ready to go.
That's the thing with Georgia, right? It's sometimes they go out there and they play with their food, but other times, like when they're an underdog or when Kirby has a lane to motivate this team, they normally show up and are guns a-blazing full bore. I'm with you. I think Georgia wins the football game. Okay. I'm going to come back to the other ones to get a pick from you as well. But first, let's talk a little bit about Ohio State, Oregon, because this is the one that everybody's been wanting to see again. We all thought we'd get it in the Big Ten championship. You saw Ohio State lose on the road at Autzen earlier in the season by 3, fell right on the number. It was a great game. Dylan Gabriel had a great night. How might this matchup differ from the first meeting?
Well, Ohio State get after Dylan Gabriel. He didn't take a sack the first time.
Yeah.
Never got touched. So they were the one team all season, and I saw Ohio State, as you know, up here in Central Ohio several times, and they were the one team that could throw down the field on them with the receivers. So how does Jim Knowles adjust there? And then on the other end, do we get the Will Howard we got against Tennessee, connecting with Jeremiah Smith? If we do, Oregon might be in a little bit of trouble. So I think we get a very similar game out at the Rose Bowl. Weather won't be a factor. Beautiful backdrop. Beautiful. For me, a Big Ten kid, it's surreal thinking about two Big Ten teams and those teams playing each other in Pasadena. I think it's going to be one fun show.
Man, like I said, it's the game that everybody's kind of been waiting to see again, and I'm absolutely here for it. All right, a pick on that game. We'll double back to all of them. So you said you like Georgia. What about Ohio State, Oregon?
I picked Oregon, but I don't love it because I think if they play the Ohio State team that played against Tennessee, the Buckeyes will win. And the winner of that game is going to probably, I picked Oregon to win the national title, so there's that. But if Ohio State wins, I would flip it to the Buckeyes. That means that they would be absolutely rolling going into a semifinal matchup against Texas. Sorry, I gave away the Texas pick.
No, well, it's good. It's good. Real quick, since you gave away the Texas pick, were you most impressed with Ohio State last week?
Yeah, because I was there and the potential for what could have been wrong. There was a ton of Tennessee fans. Everybody's got a number. I would say between 20 and 25% with Tennessee.
Wow.
And I came away impressed with Nico Iamaleava. We loses Dylan Sampson. He hung in there, took a bunch of hits. But, you saw Ohio State's home run swing in the first quarter, and it was pretty good.
It was. Because we had done stuff on the show, and Ohio State was the most impressive team to us, so I wanted your opinion. All right, so he's got Georgia, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Boise State. I think I know where you're going here, but Penn State, Boise State.
Yeah, I got Penn State in that one, too. And so if the picks that I have come true, you get Penn State and Ohio State out of the Big Ten, Texas and Georgia out of the SEC. What do you think we're going to be talking about next week if I come back on your show? That the SEC and the Big Ten dominate, and that could have been playoff.
Yeah,
if they get through.
All of us would be fine with that conversation, Bill. I think it's the Big 12 folks in the ACC and the Group of Five that might take issue with that. But all of us, we kind of expect that every year, right? For it to end up being the Big Ten and the SEC. College football playoff quarterfinals, they get underway Tuesday, New Year's Eve, continue through New Year's Day. Bill Bender of the Sporting News, good enough to give us his time today to preview the games. He's on Twitter at BillBender92. He does great work. Y'all go ahead and give him a follow. Bill, we appreciate it. Happy New Year, my friend, and we'll do it again soon.
Anytime. Happy New Year. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. Again, that is Bill Bender of the Sporting News. All right, we are going to grab a break, come back on the other side. Brian Kelly, his final media availability ahead of the Texas Bowl was Monday. A couple of things stood out, and both of them along the offensive line. We'll kick it around next here on AFR.
After further review.
If your New Year's resolution as a business owner is going to be to finally become more efficient within your business, to help that bottom line, to help your productivity, let Glow Resources help. Yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar labor. So if that's what you're looking for, they can help you find the people you need, meeting all the requirements for the specific job that you have. But at Glow Resources, they also have their professional placement division. Y'all, it's so much fun when I go over to Glow Resources. I mean that seriously. Like, one of the things Jareth Knockan has done amazingly well is just building culture. They are fun to work with. When you walk into the office, you'll start just by understanding the design. He had the interior decorator come in and we're like, just go ham. Do what you think would look great. It's pretty amazing. There's a story behind everything in the office. People love to work there, and they love to do business with you. If you need help finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, I mean, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right, Brian Kelly met with the media for the final time before LSU kicks it off in the Texas Bowl against Baylor on New Year's Eve. Couple of notes to pass along of interest. One pertaining directly to the game, one pertaining to the future of LSU football, both of them on the offensive line. And we'll start with the game itself. The offensive line is the biggest swing point in this game for me. And we'll talk plenty more about that when we give our final pick and prediction. But this is an O-line that is returning 2 starters to it for this game in DJ Chester and Miles Frazier. And Miles Frazier is playing out of position at right tackle. I understand Miles Frazier came to LSU as a tackle. But since doing that, he has played guard, including every game this season. He has played guard. So for him to move out there, that is notable, and it is something to watch. It's a great opportunity for Miles Frazier to put tackle film on tape. And look, when he goes to the Combine, when he goes to the Senior Bowl and all that, he'll rep both. He'll rep guard and tackle and show scouts and coaches and GMs and all that. But this is a great chance to do it in a live game atmosphere, live reps, all of that thing. So that's a great opportunity for him. But he is playing out of position for what he's been doing the last, 3 seasons at LSU. Then the other one is DJ Chester, who's been your starting center and will be for this game. Then Braylon Moore will come in and they'll shuffle the line that way. Other than that, it's a lot of inexperience. Tyree Adams is going to start at left tackle. Paul Mubenga will start at left guard. Mubenga started down the stretch for you when Garrett Dellinger was hurt. You all know that. And he didn't have the best of times. It's a tough position that he was thrown into. I mean, sink or swim, right into the deep end. He held his own. But why it's such a inflection point in this game is because that's 5 guys who are going to be playing with each other for the first time in a live game atmosphere. Maybe LSU has run this combination before bowl practice. I don't know. I'm not out at every practice. Maybe they have. I don't really know why they'd have a reason to, but maybe they have. But chances are this will be the first game that these 5 guys play together. That is going to swing the momentum potentially through the course of the football game. The interesting spot is right guard, because throughout it all, we saw Bo Bordelon kind of taking this first one, right? The videos that they released to practice, Garrett Nussmeier behind the line, it was Bo Bordelon. And we talked on Friday when we were going through the depth chart about how thin LSU was at tight end, where you have Tradez Green and then Giovanni Peterson. And that's it. And when you look at Bo Bordelon, he's played tight end this year. They threw the 89 jersey on him and said, hey, go block for the run, be our 6th offensive lineman, fill that role. And that's basically what he's done. He's played in like all 12 games in that type of role. If you need that, what are you going to do? Well, Brian Kelly today mentioned on the record that LSU will rotate Bo Bordelon and Cohen Eccles. And again, on Friday, when we talked about that scenario, we sat here and said, the obvious choice is Cohen Eccles. And I'm fired up for this. I cannot wait to watch Cohen Eccles. I don't know how big the role will be. Brian Kelly says it's going to be a rotation. Okay, whatever. When Cohen Eccles is in there, I can't wait to watch him, because that's a kid that has a great opportunity in this game against the Baylor Bears. That's a guy who is a high 4-star that you flipped out of A&M's class in 2023. We all know the story. He's played in 4 games this year, so he's preserved a red shirt, and he can play in this bowl game without consequence. Doesn't count towards your eligibility. And with the questions you have at guard heading into 2025, where you're probably going to have DJ Chester at one spot, and then the other one's going to be up for grabs, unless Josh Thompson slides in there. But you have a lot of young talent, including Cohen Eccles, and guys coming in like Carius Kern and Solomon Thomas that can fill that role. And Cohen Eccles has a first crack at it right here to say, hey, my hat's in the ring. He has a chance to use the bowl game as a springboard. And that's ultimately what's going to be most interesting about this game, is the young players that have that opportunity. Cohen Eccles is one of them, and I can't wait to see him out there. Same goes for Bo Bordelon. I would just imagine when you see Bo Bordelon, it will be more in the role of, hey, man, throw the 89 jersey on there and go out there. But you could see him rotate as well. That's what Brian Kelly said. So that's significant for the game itself. And I am fired up to see Cohen Eccles in an extended, game action. Played in 4 games, but extended game action here. The other note that Brian Kelly passed along about the offensive line, and hat tip Wilson Alexander for these. He was live tweeting the press conference. He was asked about Josh Thompson, and he mentioned they love his versatility, which we told you here on Friday. They love that he's played both guard and tackle, and that he can play both guard and tackle. None of that should surprise you, what Brian Kelly said. The second part of it is the interesting part. Brian Kelly noted that LSU is not done looking for offensive linemen in the transfer portal. And that is something we also talked about here on Friday. Said they have options with Thompson. They can play him at guard. If they want to play him at right tackle, fine. You still need a left tackle. Maybe it's Tyree Adams. Maybe he proves himself and uses the bowl game as a springboard, and you were so high on him coming into the season. Okay, he is that guy, and he's ready to go. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe you hop back in the transfer portal. And Brian Kelly just confirmed they aren't done looking in the transfer portal for offensive linemen. You have to think this is tackle that they're going after. Now, I will tell you this, just a quick browse of the transfer portal, and there's just the one name that really stands out right now when it comes to tackle, and it's Fa'alili Fa'amoai, who's been on campus with LSU. He's visited LSU. He's the number 2 tackle in the portal out of Washington State. Is that the guy they're after? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But what I will tell you, if it's not him, it's either someone still playing that they have a real good sense is going to enter after their bowl game is over, or this is going to be a second portal window deal. And I have feelings about the second portal window. It gets really expensive, and the options aren't nearly as top shelf normally as they are here in the December portal window. But one thing's for certain, because Brian Kelly said it, they're not done there yet. And I, for one, am good with that. I think in a perfect world, you go get yourself a starting, no doubt, day one, immediate plug-and-play guy at left tackle. You kick Thompson out to right tackle, and you fill in your guards with the young talent that you have coming in. Like, that would be my ideal situation. Now, maybe that doesn't work. Maybe Thompson needs to play guard, and you build it outside in. Maybe. But one thing's for certain, they got their center, and they had to, and that's Braylon Moore. And I would like the idea of him being in the middle as a veteran and having 2 young guys play beside him to kind of lead. I think that could work really well. We'll see what they do, but they're not done. And that's encouraging. And that also changes the math once again. Remember, 15 was the number? 15 ain't that number anymore, y'all. They're at 14. They want another offensive lineman. They still got to get a safety. That number's going to keep climbing. They're going to keep climbing. They're going to keep spending. They're going to keep getting the necessary pieces for LSU to compete for the college football playoff in 2025. All right, we're going to grab a break. We will come back on the other side. We will wrap it up with Tigers in the Pros. This is a Monday edition of AFR. We are presented by Relief Windows. Musso in for Moscona. Stay here. Come back with us next for more on AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, Our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best kept.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
Wrapping up hour number 2 of AFR. We got a lot to get to here. Taylor, Tigers in the pros. Hit it.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the...
That's not it. You're lucky.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
You're lucky T-Bob wasn't here for that. You'd never hear the end of it.
I mean, I'd never hear the end of it from Matt either, so.
That's true. That's true. Yes, I live that life. I know. Yeah, you're right. You would never hear the end of it from Matt either.
Look, dude, I'm tired. One's purple, one's gold. They're right next to each other. I mean,
both LSU colors.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Look at that. Yeah, they've worn them both on the field this year, too. Anyway, we're going to start with Joey B and the Bengals on Saturday night. Joey B, absolutely phenomenal. He had 10 incompletions, 39 out of 49, 412 yards, 3 more touchdowns. If Joe Burrow's defense on the Bengals wasn't terrible, he would be the runaway winner of the MVP right now, leading the NFL in passing. He's been absolutely incredible. Oh, by the way, he was sacked 7 times in that game, too, because his offensive line still stinks. But 412 yards through the air, he would add 25 on the ground and another touchdown. Huge day for Joey B and the boys. The boys being Jamar Chase, 9 receptions, 102 yards. Didn't find the end zone, but a long of 38. Also, Joey B, saw him hit a gritty. Joey B hit the gritty after his rushing touchdown.
Wasn't great, but not the worst I've seen.
No, that's Mike Gesicki. The worst you've seen is Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, Gesicki's is bad. Thielen's is bad.
Thielen's is not good either. Yes, that's correct. We could literally do the entire Tigers in the Pros segment on Raiders Saints. If you were watching that game Sunday, the most used phrase was former LSU Tiger. I guess we'll just kick it off with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he didn't have the biggest game, but it was awesome to see him back out there. We talked about that a little bit in the open. 5 carries for 20 yards. He would add 2 receptions for 10 yards as well. So all in all, it's a really solid day. 30 yards off of 7 touches. I mean, it's a nice average. Good to see Clyde back out there. We'll see what it potentially leads to. Foster Moreau did have the biggest day of the former Tigers in this game. 3 catches, 47 yards, including a touchdown. It was a beautiful play design, a little trick play to Foster for a 30-yarder. He was also targeted 5 times. He really made his presence felt. Tyrann Mathieu, 3 stops and a pass defense. On the other side, defensively, K'Lavon Chaisson, 3 tackles and a sack in the ballgame. 5th sack of the year, just about all of them coming with the Vegas Raiders. He's really come on strong at the end of the season. And then Terrace Marshall Jr., 1 reception, 28 yards in the ballgame. It set the Raiders up with pretty good field position, unfortunately. And then Brian Thomas Jr., BTJ, continues his incredible rookie season. 7 receptions, 91 yards, 1 touchdown along a 31. He's a freak. The Jags definitely hit on one there, and they will enjoy him for many, 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 many years to come.
Where did he go to high school? Did he go to Walker or Catholic?
He went to Walker.
Oh, okay. And I'm going to have to let Moscona know that.
Yeah.
Did not go to Catholic.
I can't escape that crap on this show, can I? Hey, where'd he go to high school? Good Lord. Jeez. Anyway, where was I? Malik Neighbors. And I just closed out the box score. Dang it. Give me a second. Never mind. Malik Neighbors had a big day. He went over 1,000 yards receiving. Scored a touchdown. I think he scored 2.
171, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 171, 2 touchdowns. He was huge for the Giants. LSU has 4 wide receivers over 1,000 yards in the NFL this year. 4. Ridiculous. Wide receiver U. One of those is Justin Jefferson yesterday afternoon. 8 receptions, 92 yards off of 11 targets. Did not find the end zone, but was the leading receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. And then the Washington Commanders. What a game this was last night. Jaden Daniels, 24 out of 36, 227, three scores and a pick. Also added 127 on the ground. Easily career high and season high so far for him off of 16 carries. He was dominant, led a beautiful drive in overtime to ultimately get the win. They had a touchdown called back because of holding that would have given them a 2-score lead in regulation, and you wouldn't even have to go to overtime. But Jaden Daniels, man, he's had a fantastic rookie season. That's Tigers in the pros. Taylor, question for you. Between Daniels, BTJ, and Malik Neighbors, is there a chance they finish 1, 2, 3 in Offensive Rookie of the Year?
There's a chance. Brock Bowers is going to be in there somewhere. Bo Nix is going to be in there somewhere. But, I mean, yeah, there's a chance. There's certainly a shot.
There has to be a chance. I get it. And Brock Bowers is the one where I'm really like, that's going to be the one that really throws a chink in it or wrench in the plans or whatnot. But honestly, it's hard to pick between Neighbors or Thomas. I think I'd probably give it to, because they're both on bad teams for one. That's going to hurt them as well. But they've both set rookie records. I guess I kind of favor Brian Thomas Jr. maybe a little bit over Neighbors.
Yeah, I think he has more touchdowns and their yards are similar.
More touchdowns, and it's just he wasn't as he should have been, but he wasn't as highly, touted coming out of the draft, even though he was a first-round pick. Neighbors was just a 6th pick overall in the draft or whatnot. But I'm real curious to see how those two. Jaden's going to win the award, and he should. He just clinched a playoff berth last night. He should win the award. He could be the only rookie quarterback going to the playoffs. Bo Nix might not make it, right? Brock Bowers is not going to the playoffs. Jaden Daniels is going to win the award. I'm just really curious to see where Neighbors and Thomas end up falling in the voting. And it feels like Thomas has really been the one that has been on the receiving end of all the national love a little bit more maybe than Neighbors, definitely more than Marvin Harrison Jr. But we don't need to open up that can of worms again, do we? But I wanted your thought on that because curious. I just see where that might go. All right, that's about going to do it here for hour number 2 of AFR. Monday shows presented by Relief Windows. We've got 1 hour left to go, and it's jam-packed. We'll grab a break. Sports Center at the top of the hour. When we come back, we'll hit on Saints for the final time. What did Darren Rizzi have to say as he kicked off Week 18? He updated some injuries, Derek Carr, things of that nature. We'll pass it along, and then it's LSU for the rest of the show. Stay here. This is AFR presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. At the Music City Bowl, Missouri rallied from a 10-point third-quarter deficit, stopped Iowa quarterback Brendan Sullivan on 4th and 1 in the final minute. Tigers took over on downs and hung on for the 27-24 victory. NFL Week 17 wraps up with the Lions and 49ers on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ABC and ESPN. The result doesn't matter for Detroit, which is set up for a winner-take-all game versus Minnesota Sunday night to determine the NFC North title, NFC 1 seed, and a first-round playoff bye. Some may be surprised Sam Darnold and the Vikings are where they are, but they shouldn't be, believes ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
Super talented. He's a mentally tough cat. He went to a place that has won an elite scheme. Kevin O'Connell is going to be, or very likely, the coach of the year in the NFL. The scheme is absolutely elite, and they've got unbelievable supporting cast.
Loser Sunday winds up as the NFC's 5th seed has to go on the road wild card weekend. Bills quarterback Josh Allen starts this week against the Patriots to keep his consecutive start streak going, but soon will come off the field. Buffalo already locked into the AFC's 2 seed.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive offers a great price and round-the-clock protection when bundling home and auto. It's one of those rare times where you could save money and get something great. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
After further review, hour number 3 off and running, presented by Relief Windows here on a Monday. Glad to have you with me. Matt Musso in for Matt Moscona, Taylor Sharp, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride. One more hour of AFR left in 2024, last show of the year. No regular lineup tomorrow because it's game day, so we'll have our game day lineup except for Jimmy. Jimmy will do a special bowl show 12:30 to 2:30 here on ESPN Baton Rouge. You can catch Eagle 98.1 game day as well on ESPN Baton Rouge or on Eagle 98.1. However you choose to listen on the apps or whatnot if you're not in Baton Rouge. Man, Taylor and I were just discussing. We've done a lot this week on a lot of different shows. We've hosted 6 shows this week. You produced AFR on last Monday, right?
Yes, last Monday.
Last Monday, and today.
And today.
I did OTB
Friday,
and today. So, and then you produced Hunt's show earlier today.
Yes.
This is the
I hosted Hunt's show Thursday.
This is the second time in 7 days, or second time in a week, 7 days, that you have been on all 3 shows.
Yeah, because Thursday I videoed OTB, hosted Hunt, video AFR. I'm normally a video producer. Today, 3 shows, no video. How about that? Hosted OTB.
That's pretty crazy.
And then audio for Hunt and AFR.
Cassie pulling a known Iron Woman shift of her own today with all 3 shows. This was the same conglomerate we had in the morning, except I was in the producer chair and you were hosting.
Oh, me and Cassie, we've been hanging out all day.
Yeah, there you go. Y'all's desks are right next to each other. You just can't get rid of him, huh, Cassie? You just...
I get too much of Taylor.
You can't.
It's tough scene for Cassie.
You can't get rid of him. You just can't shake him. All right. Well, good news, guys. We got one more hour left in the work week here, technically, for at least for all 3 of us together. So, man, that's a hell of a week, Taylor. Cassie, that we've all 3 logged really here. All right. We're supposed to talk Saints here. I just really don't want to. But anyway, we will. Week 18. Off and running here. Darren Rizzi met with the media on Monday, updated a plethora of injuries. We will pass those along to you here. We'll start where everybody wants to start. Derek Carr. Of course, we know the story by now, but just to refresh, against the Giants, Derek Carr dives for a first down on 2nd and 10, fractures his left hand. The report is in 2 places. He also suffered a concussion. He is clear of the concussion, although I don't think he is cleared concussion protocol yet because technically he has not returned to practice. That final step in clearing concussion protocol is going through practice, and Derek Carr hasn't done that. But he no longer has the concussion. It's the hand, the left hand, his non-throwing hand, that is creating the issue. He wants to play. We know that, right? He wants to play one more game, give it all for the boys. Derek Carr is kind of acknowledging the fact through Darren Rizzi that this might be it for him in New Orleans. He doesn't know if he's going to be back in 2025. I'm not here to have that conversation. There's a lot of numbers, salary cap, money, all that has to change hands. We'll all cross that bridge when we get to it. What is Derek Carr's status for Week 18? Well, it hasn't changed. Darren Rizzi said, we'll see where we are this week. The plan is for Derek Carr to go through another simulated game or try to run a simulated game this week. And if that goes well, that will create the timeline. Look, at the risk of running through a conversation that we have had ad nauseum, I see no reason for Derek Carr to play the rest of the season. I don't. I know Derek Carr wants to play. He's a competitor. All that's great. All that is admirable. But you're playing for nothing at this point. You're playing out the string. I'd much rather watch Spencer Rattler and see what he can do. Okay. We're done with that conversation for now. Carr, we'll see where it is the week. We'll keep you updated. He'll try to go through a sim game. Kendre Miller, he is in the concussion protocol. No surprise there. Obviously left the game Sunday with the concussion, did not return. He is in concussion protocol. He will go through that. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who was only targeted 2 times, by the way, on Sunday. Well, there's a reason for that. He re-aggravated the chest injury that he had. He checked out good today, per Darren Rizzi. So that is a positive. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been your biggest threat at receiver since you lost Shaheed and Chris Olave. For him to check out good, perfect. That should have all signs pointing toward him playing against the Bucs on Sunday. Peyton Turner. An injury update on Peyton Turner. What? Peyton Turner injured his ankle. Darren Rizzi says they'll know more in 48 hours. Okay. When we're back here on Thursday, maybe we'll know more on Peyton Turner, and we'll pass along an update. Jalen Ford. Told you it was lengthy. Jalen Ford fractured a fibula. He will need surgery. He is out indefinitely. It's also noted that there could be additional ligament damage that impacts the timeline, but he's obviously out next week and will need surgery. Then there's Taysom Hill, and this is encouraging. Darren Rizzi, oops, didn't mean to do that. Clicked on the wrong thing there. Darren Rizzi updated Taysom Hill's surgery and said 2 thumbs up. No complications regarding the surgery at all. Said Hill is fired up, and he's fired up about beating the recovery timetable and playing next year. That's great news. I mean, Taysom Hill, we don't have to have the whole conversation over and over again that we've had, every day since he's been a New Orleans Saint. What he adds to this team, the dimension he adds to the offense, it's unlike anything that any of us have ever seen in football. I mean, obviously back in the day, Red Grange and, those guys, sure. But in the modern era of football, Taysom Hill is a unicorn. And he just provides such a boost, such a impact, such a different wrinkle for the Saints in so many different ways. You can't replace it. And you saw the offense really thrive with him when he was in there, regardless of really what was up front on the offensive line, because he could just impact the game so many ways. So getting him back potentially early and beating the recovery timetable next year, that's huge for the New Orleans Saints. Glad everything obviously went well. Glad everything went well, obviously, for Taysom Hill in the surgery, and hopefully a speedy recovery, and he can get back and impact the Saints season next year. Because while I don't expect the Saints to compete for very much next season, having Taysom Hill certainly increases your chances of competing next season. So, look, that's kind of the high points from Darren Rizzi's press conference earlier on Monday. Just a lot of injury talk. I mean, it's going to be a weird week with holidays and whatnot again. They'll get into Bucs prep. But, look, Tampa Bay, especially with Atlanta losing last night, Atlanta no longer controls their destiny in the South. Like, Tampa is very much playing for the division on Sunday, and they're a better football team than you. So, we'll see. There's some interesting things to look at with that game. It'll be potentially could be Spencer Rattler's second start against the Buccaneers. Your first chance to really see what he learns going up against a team for a second time. That's always going to be an interesting caveat. There are things to watch and pay attention to with the Saints. It's just all in a vacuum, and knowing that the season ends on Sunday, and that's okay. And you'll go forth and hire a new coach and continue the rebuild. But Rizzy was flush with injury updates at practice today. So, or not practice, but at his Monday media availability. Saints will be off Tuesday, obviously, and they'll hit the practice field and get ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll keep you posted here on After Further Review, as you know we always do. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Switch the conversation over to LSU. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all eights. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Evermore, all natural, great tasting water. when you uncap a bottle of Evermore, that's the first time the product touches air. It's incredible. It's a natural well. It's natural artesian water. It's a well. It's on the North Shore. I went to their bottling facility. When you pull up on the left, you'll see the well is right there. They've drilled deep into the earth. They pipe it out right into their filters and their filtration system. Nothing is added. Nothing is extracted. It is completely pure from the earth water. So if you want a healthier option, if you want a healthier lifestyle, something healthier for your children, maybe you're an athlete that wants a superior form of hydration, Evermore, EVAMOR. If you notice, go to their website, you'll see Dak Prescott is one of their chief spokespeople. I mean, starting NFL quarterback is vouching for it. Check it out at great local retailers or order on their website at EVAMOR.com, Evermore.com, Evermore.com.
All right. We'll get to a final pick and prediction and preview here on LSU Baylor in the Texas Bowl in the next segment. Autolock still to come as well. I do want to put a button on the non-conference slate for LSU men's hoops, though. They beat Mississippi Valley State 110-45 on Sunday. I don't care. That's exactly what you should have done. You were up 55-13 at the half. Mississippi Valley State is quite literally the worst team in the country. Like, quite literally. They're dead last in the net. They are dead last in offensive and defensive efficiency. They are the worst team in the country. Their only wins are against the Mississippi University for women, which is not only for women anymore, and Oakwood. They suck. Sorry. To put it that bluntly, they're not good. You did exactly what you should have. Good job. I didn't learn anything. What I'm happy about, I'm happy Cam Carter had a great night, put up 23 points. That was awesome to see. And everyone got out of the game healthy. Thank you. Mike Williams returned. Awesome. Only played 4 minutes. Don't care. He's back out there. That's a great sign. Everyone's healthy. You move on to SEC play. Okay. That is all I have for you on the Mississippi Valley State game. Literally everything. They are the worst team in college basketball. You beat them how you should. Good job. 11-2. You kick off the SEC slate, or I should say you tip off the SEC slate Saturday, January 4th, this weekend against the Vanderbilt Commodores. The SEC is a gauntlet. We have talked about that plenty. We'll look at the schedule and see maybe where LSU can find some hay. But when you look at LSU, where they really excelled in the pre-conference and where they stand in the SEC, it paints a really nice picture for Matt McMahon and his bunch moving forward. LSU, you go through and look where they stand in the SEC, middle of the pack just about everywhere. Middle of the pack in the, now again, this is all through pre-conference, you have to play the schedule. But middle of the pack in the SEC, that's getting you into the SEC, the NCAA tournament. That's getting you in. You're in the big dance. You were 9-9 last year. 9-9, probably on the fringe. But if you can get to 10-8, you're going to be in. 10 wins is going to get you in this year's SEC. It's just that stacked. Things that stood out in the pre-conference that you hope carry over. Your three-point perimeter defense was fantastic. I mean, LSU, through the pre-conference, held their opponents under 30% from behind the arc. And you had some really nice opponents in there, like Pittsburgh, like Florida State, like Kansas State, like SMU. You played 4 power conference games in your non-conference slate. You weren't just beating up on Mississippi Valley, right? It wasn't just the Delta Devils, who I probably shouldn't have said sucked. That was really harsh. They're college kids. They try their best. I'm sorry. I apologize. They stink. That's better. So you played some nice opponents. 3-point perimeter defense. That stuck out. Rim protection. Really, really stuck out. Damian Collins is top 5 in the SEC in block shots right now. That can absolutely carry over. Corey Chest is just outside the top 5 in rebounds as a redshirt freshman. That can absolutely carry over. He is top 5 in offensive rebounds. So those are 2 things around the rim that excelled in the pre-conference that I think can absolutely carry over and will be huge for you down the stretch. And Corey Chest also showed the ability to score the basketball a little bit, as did Damian Collins, which you really lost when Jalen Reed went down for the season. So all of those huge positives from the pre-conference. Victorious Miller has emerged as one of your best. You realize Victorious Miller shot 50% from the floor in the pre-conference? He's averaging 12 points a game, shot 50%. And he's not even shooting the three at the clip that he's capable of yet. We've said it every time we've talked LSU basketball on this show. That kid's going to be really, really special before his time is up in Baton Rouge. He kind of already is. And he made big plays down the stretch. I thought your guard play was really good and got better, actually, throughout the course of the pre-conference. And you need that if you're going to win in the SEC and if you're going to win in March. Areas you need to get a little bit better at, turnovers. Got to stop turning the basketball over. I don't really care about your numbers too much against Mississippi Valley and UNO and Stetson. None of those teams are good. I don't care. Against SMU, you were dreadful. And that was more of the trend that you saw in pre-conference. Turnovers have to get better, especially the live ball turnovers. And the three-point shooting. Matt McMahon wants his team to take and make a lot of threes. And to keep up in this SEC, you're going to have to because they got shooters across this league. Cam Carter's been really good at it, as has Jordan Sears. Who else can kind of rise to that occasion? Jai Bailey got hot here as of late. Who else? Can Victorious Miller hit it at the clip that he's capable? That's going to go a long way for this team in SEC play if you can. You need a few more. That's going to be a big part of this team. You just have to hit them a little bit more often. What does the schedule look like? I told you they kick it off with tip it off with Vanderbilt on Saturday. Then you go to Missouri. For what it's worth, Taylor, what were the numbers on the teams ranked? I didn't write it down. What were they?
In the AP top 25 right now, 10 SEC teams in the top 25, 5 of the top 10, including 1 and 2, Tennessee and Auburn.
10 in the top. Wait, I would say it again. 10 in the top 25. Not
5 of the top 10, including 1 and 2.
Okay, let me see if I got this now. 10 in the top 25, 5 of the top 10.
Yep.
And numbers 1 and number 2.
Yep.
Your first 2 games are against unranked teams, although Vanderbilt and Missouri both have very good records. Winning both of those would go a long way. One's at home, one's on the road. A split is good enough too. But that's when you get into the gauntlet of facing the ranked teams. After that, you were at Ole Miss, at home against Arkansas, at A&M, at Alabama versus Auburn. The next 5 after Vandy and Mizzou are all against ranked teams. That's your first true gauntlet that you have to go through this schedule. And look, you're not winning in Coleman Coliseum. We know that. Just accept it. It's just how things go. You're probably not beating Auburn at home. Auburn might be the best damn team in the country. And you're probably not beating them. The schedule to end the season, that's your 5 in the middle. Your 5 to end are equally as tough. Florida, top 10 team. Tennessee, ranked. You get both of those at home, but will you win them? I don't know. Then you're at State, who's ranked. You're at Kentucky, who's ranked. And you wrap up the season at home against Texas A&M, who's ranked. You have 2 5-game stretches that are just brutal. If you can manage to go 3-2 in one of those, you're doing backflips. I think your best case is 2-3 in both, and then you win your home games. That's how you do it if you're LSU. Like, for instance, Saturday, Vandy's off to a great start. Vandy's 11-1. They're having a great year so far. You have to win that game at home, though. Like, that's one you have to get at home. Same can be said, when Texas comes in. Texas is a really good team. You got that at home. You really got to get that one. Can you split the games with Ole Miss and Arkansas at home and away? All of that would be huge. I'm not expecting you to beat Auburn at home. I'm not expecting you to beat Tennessee or Florida at home. Can you steal one of them? If you do, that's huge. Middle of the pack. That's what you're shooting for. No one's asking LSU to go win the SEC this year. LSU's not capable of doing that. Middle of the pack. You do that, you're dancing in March. And so far, through the pre-conference, that's right where you are. You couldn't ask for a better starting position for this year's LSU team than where they are heading into conference play and really when it gets fun here in college basketball. Just a brief thumbnail on that. All right. Before we hit break, South Point Volkswagen. Taylor.
We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Y'all, if you're near, or we are near the end of the year, obviously, get on by and see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. If you're trying to snag a deal at the end of the year. Great time to do it. The best savings yet on their most popular models. You can get the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas or Crossport, which is what I drive, for 0.9% APR for 60 months or up to $3,500 customer bonus. If you prefer the Tiguan, 0% APR or up to $2,500 customer bonus. Get by South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, or online to see all the deals at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
2 more segments to go here in 2024 on After Further Review. It's been a joy filling in for Scone here so far through the past week or so. It's only been 4 shows, but it's he's been out for a while. He'll be back on Wednesday. When we get back, so we're going to grab a break here. When we get back, we will give you a final preview and prediction on the Texas Bowl, LSU and Baylor. Otter Lock still to come. All that straight ahead on AFR.
AFR
is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com. Rouses.com. Great time for you to get by Rouses right now. We're moving into Christmas week. If you haven't done it yet and you're planning your Christmas Day or Christmas Eve celebration or whatever party, Rouses has got you covered. Go to the website right there at Rouses.com. All of the bonuses and the savings right now over at Rouses. So you want to save as you're putting together your holiday meal for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. You can do it over at Rouses. Any of their 70 some odd locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. Seems like every day they open up a new Rouses. Make sure you save, you shop save, and you shop local there at Rouses, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Your main course, they have catering options as well. Maybe you want some wine for the whole family. Try some new interesting wines. The more you buy, the more you save at Rouses. Rouses, this feels like home.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always...
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Brought to you by Parish Restoration. Parish Restoration. I've told you before about Mold Zero Pure Restoration. Now, Parish Restoration, all the same thing. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Parish, Jim Woodworth, who I've told you about for years now. Jim Woodworth merged with my guys Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio, all under the Parish umbrella. So it's Parish Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog. It's been actually pretty remarkable to hear some of these stories of people have put out to bid for remediation contracts, and they get the number from Parish Restoration, and they'll call and say, is this number right? And they explain why. I say it often. It is a more cost-effective, more efficient way, and also of remediation, and also because it's a dry fog, you're not cutting sheetrock or pulling out carpet or taking things out of your home or your place of business. They spray the fog, they let it dwell, it dissipates, you're back in free and clear and mold-free. It's Parish Restoration. ParishBuilt.com.
LSU, Baylor, Texas Bowl, Houston, 2:30 p.m. Central, New Year's Eve. What are we watching? How do we think the game goes? A pick and prediction. Let's dive right into it. So the way I've kind of started to view the bowl practices and the bowl game are a mini spring camp. You get 14 or 16, however so many practices in the bowl. You can bring new guys in, like DJ Pickett's here, Damian Shanklin, like all those guys are here practicing with the team. They're in Houston with the team. You can bring all those guys in, go through. It's a chance for guys to really, because you have an exodus of players. Like it's a mini spring camp, and guys can go in there, fight for roles, start to take the next step, and then you play what is ultimately a glorified exhibition. The only difference is it counts against your record, and you're playing it against a team other than yourself. But we're all aware that's what bowl games have become. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying the bowl games have not been entertaining this year. They have been. You've seen some really good football, and that's awesome to see. But bowl games do not carry the same meaning that they have. It's a mini spring camp, and I love that. So, in keeping with that theme, the one thing I'm fired up to see is all the young guys. And we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, specifically with a guy like Cohen Eccles, specifically with Javian Toviano and Deshaun Spears getting run at safety and star in this game. And that's ultimately, first and foremost, what I'm fired up for. The young guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that you got so many veterans playing in this game on defense. You're going to need them. Baylor's really good at moving the football and putting it in the end zone. You're going to need those veteran guys. But to have a chance to see a guy like Deshaun Spears really get some extended run. With Sage Ryan in the portal and off to Ole Miss, Jordan Gilbert will play, but you're going to need somebody else back there at safety. Deshaun Spears probably going to get a little good run there. If not him, Javen Toviano. Those two are going to be interchangeable. And the sample size on him is so small. But you look at Toviano, that's a former 5-star. That's a former 5-star that LSU's moved around plenty. They put him at cornerback. Now they finally got him settled at safety. All right, let's see what you got. Deshaun Spears, number 3 safety in the country in 2023 when he came out. Right down the road in Denham. Played a lot early in this season. Played in every game for LSU. Just saw the reps dwindle, but played in multiple different positions. Okay, let's see what you got. Talked earlier about, man, he feels like one that has to hit. Not to put added pressure on the young man, but he feels like one that has to hit just because of how highly ranked he was coming out of high school, because he's from right down the road, because your depth at safety, while you have bodies, you're looking for that next star. Deshaun Spears really stands out as the guy who could be that next star. So yeah, I'm fired up to see that guy. And I'll be watching closely to see how it goes for him and Toviano. On the defensive line, man, it's great. You got Swinson and Jones playing. That's awesome. Paris Shand, that's great. I can't wait to see Dom McKinley. Do you remember the Dom McKinley we left off on at the end of the season? He had 2 sacks against Oklahoma. He was playing his best football. It's a guy who suffered through injury early, had to fight to get on the field. You finally saw him against UCLA. I think on his first play, he sacked Gravers of UCLA. And he continued to get better and better. That's another former 5-star that you expect to be one of the next greats at LSU. You get to see him basically for a full game. Hell yeah. Ahmad Bro, same thing. Gabe Relaford, same thing. There's no Deshaun Womack. Gabe Rutherford's going to get plenty of run at defensive end in this game. And he can play inside. All 3 of those guys proved they belonged already this year. And at a big point in the season, too. When you lost Jacoby and Guillory, it looked bleak up front. And it ended up not being bleak in large part because of those 3 freshmen. So, yeah, now you get to see them with even, double-digit more practices under their belt and in a live game. Sure. Give me all of that. I'm here for it. Wide receiver is incredibly interesting to me in this game. There is no Kyron Lacey. There is no C.J. Daniels. There is no Mason Taylor. You get Aaron Anderson, that's huge. But that's still 3 of your 4 leading receivers gone, not playing in this game. Xavion Thomas will take on a bigger role. I'm fired up to see that. If y'all listen to LSU Daily, you know how much I've been clamoring for Xavion Thomas to just get the ball in his hands more. If you don't listen to LSU Daily, you should. Please go subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Anytime Xavion Thomas touches the ball, he has the ability to hit his head on the goalpost. So, yeah, give that. I can't wait to watch him. Chris Hilton finally looks like he's right. That gives you another ability to stretch the field. Remember the last time we saw Chris Hilton? Same thing we talked about with Dominic McKinley. Remember the last time we saw Chris Hilton? He looked like Hilton from the bowl game against Wisconsin, not Hilton against Texas A&M. Okay. He's playing in this game. Tells me, guess he's long for LSU. Can this finally be the jumping off point for me? I'm here for that. I know he's not necessarily a young guy, but, not as experienced. You get what I'm going for there. Here for all of that. And then there's the offensive line. We talked about this a little bit earlier when we mentioned what Brian Kelly had to say in his final media availability about the line. You're missing 3 starters. And Miles Frazier will play out of position. This will be the first time, I'm guessing, but I think it's a pretty safe assumption, a pretty safe guess, that these 5 players have played together in a game. But I'm fired up to see a lot of them, especially Cohen Eccles. Cohen Eccles is going to rotate in with Bo Bordelon. You get another look at Paul Mubenga. Tyree Adams should be fully healthy now. Remember how high they were on Tyree Adams coming into this season. He was your 6th guy at every position. Every position. He was literally your 6th offensive lineman to go in there. Anyone got hurt, he was next up. And when he went down, that hurt LSU. So, yeah, I'm fired up to see Tyree Adams, especially now that he's probably healthy and ready to go. Paul Mubenga's had double-digit more practices under his belt to get ready. Cohen Eccles, you mean the former high 4-star who you flipped from A&M? Yeah, I want to see that guy in a large sample. Can't wait, as a matter of fact. But in talking about the offensive line is also where we start to kind of talk about the game. Because as mentioned earlier in the show, that is the crux for me in this football game. That is the swing point. That is what this game relies on, is LSU's offensive line. And can they give Garrett Nussmeier time? And can they open up holes in the running game? Let's start with the latter. LSU down the stretch of the season really started to finally take steps forward in the running game. Against Florida, you saw the signs. Against Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, it continued. You finally strung it together. That's what you were missing. Now with a long layoff, with a makeshift offensive line, can you continue that success? The guys you were doing it with are there. Caden Durham's there. Josh Williams is there. Can the offensive line, the receivers, the tight ends in tandem with everything that you've lost at those positions, can the running game continue to flourish? That's going to be huge. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a long day for Garrett Nussmeier. You will see LSU's offense become one-dimensional, and we know how that has looked. I understand Baylor's defense, and I'm getting there. The other thing is we've made a lot about this offensive line and the protection that they have given Garrett Nussmeier. Those guys aren't there. When Garrett Nussmeier has been under pressure, that is where some of the shady decision-making is coming, the happy feet, all of those things. When he's had time, he's picked guys apart. He has picked teams apart. They are going to have to give Garrett Nussmeier time, especially on the interior. We talked about this with Zach Smith on Friday, that Baylor pass rush, while their defense has struggled, and the majority of those struggles have been in the secondary, the pass rush has actually been pretty good. You look at Jones, Randolph, and Linton. 10.5 sacks between those three guys. If they can take advantage of Tyree Adams on the outside, come up the middle, Garrett Nussmeier could be in for a long day. Everything in this game hinges on LSU's offensive line because everyone is expecting this to be a high-scoring game, and so am I. Baylor's defense isn't great. The pass rush is pretty good, but the secondary is atrocious. And while you don't have Kyron Lacey, you don't have C.J. Daniels, you don't have Mason Taylor, and that stings, you got weapons at receiver. LSU always has weapons at receiver. And you have guys capable of making plays. I can't wait to watch Aaron Anderson kind of in that wide receiver one role here. He's not your true number one going forward, but in this game, he will be. And LSU will make plays. That's for sure. On defense, it comes down to one thing. And for me, it's Sawyer Robertson. Again, when we had Zach Olson, I asked him a blueprint. If Baylor's going to win, a blueprint. And he went straight for Bryson Robinson. Freshman running back, over 1,000 yards. First time in Baylor history for a freshman to go over 1,000 rushing yards. He went to him. Said he's probably got to run for 150 yards, a couple scores. I'm here to tell you, I don't think that's happening. And if you're here on Friday, you know why I'm going to say that. And I've regurgitated this plenty throughout the season anytime I've had access to a microphone. LSU against running backs this year has been really freaking good. The quarterback's been the problem. Since Rocket Sanders went over 100 yards in week 3, LSU has allowed one running back, one, to go over 100 yards the rest of the season. That was Ulysses Bentley from Ole Miss. And they faced good backs in that stretch. Justice Haynes, Le'Veon Moss. Like, they faced good backs. Stopping the running back hasn't been the problem. The quarterback has. Sawyer Robertson can move. So if you're asking me if I think Bryson Robinson's going to have a great day against LSU, no, I don't think that he will because no other running back has. If he does, yeah, tip your hat. Good on you, man. You're special. You're going to go somewhere. You got a great career ahead of you. Sawyer Robertson is the key. He's very accurate. He protects the football, and he can create when knocked off his spot, and he is mobile. He's dealt with a few nagging injuries, but he's going to be healthy and ready to play in this game. LSU has got to do a good job defending Sawyer Robertson. That being said, he will get his. Baylor will get theirs. They will score. And I come back to the offensive line. And unfortunately, I think there will be moments in the game where they are exposed. I do not think LSU is going to be an abject disaster on the offensive line on Tuesday. I do not believe that. I think they will have moments of very good, and then I think they will have moments of bad. And what it's going to come down to is when those moments of bad happen. When the pressures ratchet up in a high-scoring, close game like everyone is expecting, those bad moments tend to really magnify. I like Baylor to win the game, 38-34. LSU will score. They will do fine. But I just don't know if this offensive line is a complete game in them with only 3 weeks of practice before strapping it up and going there. And you're going to have some shuffling along the line with rotating guys in. That concerns me a little bit. So while I think LSU keeps pace and scores, I think it's probably from a comeback effort that falls just a little short. I could see LSU potentially falling behind early in this game and then the comeback falling a bit short. I hope I'm wrong. I would love for LSU to finish 9-4 and go into 2025 on a high note. But I also think everything that's happened in this offseason, you can't help but be excited for 2025 coming up. You have your starting quarterback returning for a second season. You have signed a beautiful top 10 class in recruiting, and you have a top 2 transfer portal class right now as well. The arrow is pointing up regardless of the outcome on Tuesday. It's a spring camp. At least that's the way I'm choosing to view it. I think Baylor gets the last laugh and does win the game 38-24. And again, I hope that I'm wrong. All right. We got one thing left to do. Let's wrap up the show. That's do with Auto Locks. We'll do that next. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Stay here.
After further review.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. Agent225.com, agent225.com. Talking to all y'all over in Lafayette as well in the 337. Darren James has an office over in Lafayette. If you need to sell your home in the 337, you need Darren James. The number 1 realtor in the state of Louisiana, the number 14 realtor in America on the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That came out just a couple of weeks ago. I'm so proud, so fired up for Darren. I've told you for years that he's the best. And Darren has a way of making you feel like, despite all the volume he does, that you are his only client. He's exceptional at the entire process of communicating throughout and getting you results. Number 14 in America on the transaction side. It's Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagine
further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
All right, final segment here of AFR in 2024. There's only one way we can end it to be fitting. That's with our guy, the Yacht Father, Jimmy Yacht. Let's do Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, Happy New Year. How are you, sir?
Happy New Year, Musso. How about you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Getting ready to get out of here. Of course, got pregame tomorrow morning, but, all in a day's work.
Yeah, pregame for you guys. We're going to adjust our time spot on Live at Lunch. We'll be live at Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons in Burbank tomorrow from 12:30 to 2:30. In the middle of the Alabama-Michigan game, bringing you right up to kickoff for LSU and Baylor. So special time tomorrow, 12:30 to 2:30. Great place to watch the game over at Walk-On.
Love it. One of my favorites. What are we looking at tonight, Otter?
All of it is on, this game means absolutely nothing for the Detroit Lions. And they win, they play for the number 1 seed next week. They lose, they play for the number 1 seed next week since Minnesota won yesterday. And Minnesota lost, it'd be a different case. They have a lot to play for. But at 3.5, and we were monitoring this line yesterday during the Minnesota game, and as they pulled ahead, it never budged. And I was a little surprised. I thought that it would go down some. Any other coach, this line would probably be a lot less. To try and limit your players. Jared Goff has enough starts. He doesn't have anything to prove. Jahmyr Gibbs is already carrying an extra load with the other running back that's been knocked out for the year, lost for the year with an injury. So, he could use a bit of a break going into the Minnesota game as well. But you got Dan Campbell, and he's got this tough guy, aggressive personality. Heck, it was at this stadium last year where over-aggression may have cost him the a trip to the Super Bowl last year. So, everybody would be moving the line down. Well, Campbell not so much. I'm trying to stay away from the line itself. Listen, San Francisco's down multiple offensive linemen as well. They've had a lot of in-house tragedy this year, and of course a ton of injuries as well. And it has really slowed down their offense. I'm going to look for Detroit to kind of slow it down a little bit, kind of get in, get out game sort of approach to a preseason game. Let's get in, get out, and try and preserve as many people. Their defensive guys could use a few reps as they have so many new faces on that side midseason that they picked up, including a couple of LSU Tigers. So we're going to go with the under 50 and a half tonight, Musso.
Under 50 and a half, Lions 49ers in Monday Night Football. Okay, we got about a minute left, Otter. Anything else you're looking at?
No.
Okay.
That's it. Listen, man, this is a garbage.
1 minute remaining.
It is. This is a Week 18 game, wrapping up Week 17.
There we go.
And look, if you saw some of the games yesterday, some teams have cashed it in and some have not. Dorian Thompson-Robinson was ugly in Cleveland yesterday. And then the Giants score almost, 3 points behind the Buccaneers to be the highest scored team in the NFL this week. So you don't know what's happening. And the Saints are getting housed by a team that showed up at midnight the day before.
Please,
so it's a garbage game tonight. It's a preseason game, and with one team that's got a lot on the line. It's a shame because the Lions were the best team in the NFL at one point, but not so much anymore. I'm going to go with the under, looking to get in and get out.
All right, Otter, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow in pregame. All right, it's been After Further Review.
After Further Review.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.